Hi there folks, welcome back to the IBN Fishing channel. I hope you're doing really well. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit the subs button somewhere just below. If you subscribe to the channel, that means you'll be kept in touch with all the fishing, all the reviews, all the news, all the live streams, and all the other stuff that IB and I get up to on this little channel. If you're a current subscriber, thank you very much for joining us again, really appreciate it. It is Review Tuesday, which means we've got a review coming up for you guys, and it's a review that I kind of did about 18 months ago, but never really finished it. It's a product that I've used a lot. Something that I had a very quick look at in a previous vlog, but it's about time I came back to it because it's a piece of kit that just hasn't let me down. It's a piece of kit I really want to let you guys know all about, and that is the Okuma Citrix 364 LX Baitcaster. This is a reel that I first showed on the channel, and I think it was May 2019, so we're approaching 2 years ago now. And I've used it. This has been my go-to reel ever since. Actually, when I was looking back through the other vlogs that we did to make some B-roll for this vlog, I realised that the vast majority of the pike I've caught on this channel, and it's not as many as I would have liked, were all on this reel. So I thought it was about time we came back and had a look at the Citrix because it is a fabulous little piece of kit. There's the box, that's how it comes. I'm pretty sure this will still be the same box. I don't think Okuma have changed anything from there. So we pop that open. Now obviously in there we're going to have the reel, which is obviously spooled up, ready to go. It has been for about 18 months. In there we've also got, as normal, an exploded diagram of all the parts. No one ever looks at that, I don't think. And there's a little owner's manual as well, which is really good, because this tells you a little bit more about your reel, how to use it, how to maintain it, all of that stuff. Being every kind of premium top-end reel, and this is kind of mid to top end. It's not a cheap reel. It deserves a proper instruction manual like that. So nice touch. But all of that stuff pretty much gets chucked away, doesn't it? Let's be honest. This is the reel itself. And as I say, I've had this for about 18 months. It's been used, it's been abused, and regardless of what it says in the owner's manual, it has never been serviced. So this reel has never been touched by a professional. It's never been opened up and cleaned. It is what it is, and the fact that it's managed to deal with 18 months of being thrown around by me is testament to the quality of the reel. But let's start first with a few of the kind of basic facts about the reel. What are we looking at in terms of tech specs? First off, construction. It's die-cast aluminium on the body, nice solid body, good solid construction. There's machined aluminium star drag clicker. There's a machined aluminium handle. It's got brass pinion gears, so super durable. There are 8 ball bearings in the reel. There's 7 in the actual mechanism, and then another one on the handle itself. So you've got a roller bearing in there. It is fantastically smooth. And you've got what I think is an aluminium bar there on the level line. Actually, the one piece on this reel that isn't aluminium that I thought might have been, it was probably the one piece on the reel that I thought might give us some problems. The level wind itself is, I don't know what it is, it's kind of graphite-y, plasticky material, and I must admit I looked at that when I first took it out of the box and thought, oh, that doesn't look right compared to the rest of the reel. Absolutely no problems at all. I have no idea what it's made out of, but it's pretty bloody durable. There's what Okuma call a carbonite drag system in here, which they reckon can produce drag pressures of up to 25 pounds, which is a huge amount. It's more than you'd ever need for UK pike fishing, unless you're trying to pull a lure from a snag. But I would say if you are trying to do that, don't put all the pressure through the reel. Try and wrap some of the braid around your hand or around your arm or around a stick and do that instead. If you pull too hard on these things, you do risk damaging, warping or bending some of the internals, so definitely avoid that. But £25 worth of drag pressure is an awful lot for what isn't a huge reel. There's plenty going on in there. It's going to stop anything you're going to need to stop in the UK, that's for sure. On the outside here, it does have a clicker, so if you're doing some trolling, you've got that option as well. Obviously, everyone else in the world turns that off apart from trolling anglers, but they've got it if they want. All in all, a nice, compact, durable, well-designed, well-thought-through little piece of kit, but the real star of the show with this reel is all on the inside. It's all about the internals. So we've got a little thumb screw on here, a little thumb bar. I'm just going to push that away from me 3 or 4 times. Pop that out, and then on this side where the clicker is, if I just twist up, we can take the side plate off, and this is where the casting brake is, and this is the bit that's really, really important. So you'll see in there we've got 0 to 6 on numbers, and this is adjustable. You can actually adjust this to suit different baits or different casting styles. When I first got the reel, it was set to 5, and I used it on 5 for quite a long time, but gradually over time I've gone down and down and down to the point where I've now got this set on 0. I must admit, during casting, and I hadn't noticed I do this or hadn't realised that other people don't do it until I spoke to a buddy Robbie recently about this. Guys, tell me in the comment section if you're the same. When I'm casting a baitcaster, mid-cast, my thumb is pretty much always either just touching the braid on the spool as it spins or just a millimetre off. And I'm listening and feeling for any signs that there might be any overrun or any backlash coming, and then I can control that with my thumb. Whereas Robbie said that during casting, he takes his thumb totally away from the reel and just relies on the casting brake. Now you tell me, guys, which one do you do? Am I the weird one, or is Robbie the weird one, or are there just different ways of doing it? I just feel more comfortable, and I feel so in touch with the rod and the reel that if I start to hear a backlash coming, I can just thumb the spool slightly and avoid it. Maybe that's just me though. Just going to pop this back on here, and for those of you who have bought the reel or are thinking of buying the reel, one little tip here. There'll be a temptation with the side plates, just push it down as far as it can go and then try and screw the thumb bar in, and it doesn't go, it doesn't fit. What you have to do is get this bottom corner lined up absolutely perfectly on the body, and then you can push it in. But it took me 12 months to work that out. I was always just assuming that you will push the side plate down as far as you can, but you don't, and I wish I'd found out sooner. In terms of line capacity on here, you get 230 metres of 033 braid on, which is plenty. 033 would be somewhere around about 50 to 70 pounds in the UK. I put 59 pound on here. This is just about 60 pounds Savage. I'm pretty sure this is Savage Gear Silencer HD8. Put that on 18 months ago, it's still on there. I've had a couple of break-offs in the past where I've had to pull lures from snags and stuff, but it's still basically full. That's the nice thing about using the heavy braid, is you don't lose stuff with it, you particularly don't lose your braid. What that does mean is that the reel has the line rating capability to be able to cast bigger lures. And I want to get on to talking about this now because I've cast a huge amount of lures with the reel. So for the vast majority of the time I had it, this has been sat on my 6'6" Black Savage 60 gram jerkbait rod. And as a lighter jerkbait reel, it's absolutely fabulous because it's got a fairly fast retrieve ratio at 6.4 to 1. It's great for ripping jerkbaits around, it does that really, really nicely. I have also had it on a heavier XLN T3 rod that's rated up to 150 grams. And just recently I've been putting it on the Savage Gear SG4 60 to 110, which suits it really nicely actually. That is about right. I was thinking about what kind of lures I've cast on this reel in the last 18 months, and obviously it's a long time. And thinking about it, I've cast lures like the smaller Savage Gear Debush, which I think is 32 grams, 33 grams. I've cast the smaller line through trout, which is about 40 grams. And it's done that absolutely fine. I don't think that's where it's at its most comfortable, but it's done it really, really nicely. I've also cast lures up to the size of the 25 centimetre line through trout, which I think is just short of 200 grams. I've got a heavier rod for doing that stuff. I don't do it very often. It did it okay, I must admit. That was the one time where it felt like the reel was under a bit of pressure. I think if you are doing a lot of that style of fishing with much heavier baits, I would probably have a look at something like the Okuma Komodo in the bigger size, or maybe a Abu Revo Toro Beast. Shimano Tranx 401 I think is the bigger one. That would do that stuff really nicely. This isn't the size of reel for casting huge baits constantly. But for the vast majority of the fishing I do, which is between 50 grams and 150 grams, it's eating everything I've thrown at it alive. I think I said in a vlog recently actually that coupled with the SG4 60 to 110 heavy game baitcaster, I was throwing that 100 gram line through trout as far as I've ever thrown it before. And as much as the rod is a part of that, the reel also definitely is too. Like I said at the start of the video here, I haven't serviced this, I haven't taken it apart and cleaned it, and it's still fantastically smooth. I don't know what they're using to seal the bearings inside there, but it must be very good. You guys will know, I'm not precious with fishing kit. These things are tools, they're there to be used. They don't get treated as well as a lot of other people's will be, and it's still going. There are no great marks on it that I can see. There's a lot of dirt in there, obviously, but there's no marks on it. It stood up with basically the abuse that I've thrown at it really, really well, but particularly impressed that it's retained its smoothness given the amount that it's been used, given the way it's been treated. Very, very happy with that. It's done really well. The thumb grips on the handles are a kind of a sticky, rubbery plastic. I must admit I get a little bit jealous of Yeva's Okuma Komodo, which has a neoprene thumb handles on. I much prefer those actually. But these aren't bad, they're still going, there's no marks on them, they're rugged. They've done really, really well. No complaints, but I must admit, I do like the feel of that neoprene handle on the Komodo. It just feels a bit more premium. In terms of things that I dislike about the reel, in truth, I had to have a real big think about this before I started filming this vlog, because there aren't many. As I've said before, the handles, the thumb handles, I just feel they could feel a bit more premium for the cost of the reel. I think they could feel a bit more premium. They're not bad, don't get me wrong, they're perfectly serviceable. I just think that neoprene on the Komodo that Yeva's got is a little bit nicer, it's a little bit more luxurious. I'm really nitpicking with that. The other one, I'm actually going to put the reel on a rod to show you, because this is something that, don't get me wrong, it doesn't happen often. Screw that down. It doesn't happen often, but that's how I hold the reel when I'm casting. And every now and again, I don't know how I do it, but this part of my finger here must engage the clicker, and I'll go to make a cast and I'll flick it by accident. And everyone on the lake will look around like, what is he doing? It's probably just a result of the way I hold the reel, because everyone holds these things differently. Actually, IB and I hold a rod totally differently when it comes to baitcasters. I have clicked that over a few times during casting. It hasn't damaged it, I haven't lost any lures from it. You just look a bit of an idiot because it makes so much noise. It really isn't that much of an issue, and it's probably my fault. I used to get really frustrated by the thumb screw. I talked about this earlier. It used to drive me mad, you know. I don't open up the side plate very often, but when I was opening it up to adjust the casting brakes, it used to drive me mad. It took me so long to get it to screw back in, until I learned that actually the key to it isn't to have the side plate pushed right down, but to have it lined up at the bottom corner. It's something that maybe that's just this reel. Maybe other reels are slightly different tolerances, but it used to drive me bonkers, that did. Fortunately, as I say, after a while I figured it out and there were no issues at all. And no issues at all is pretty much where we are with this thing. I mean, the reality is I've had this for 18 months. It's been, for most of the time, it's been the reel that I've used for all of my fishing. I've put it on a lot of different rods. I've cast a lot of different lures in different situations, in different temperatures. It's never let me down. And it has, as I say, it hasn't been serviced. It hasn't been fettled with. It's as it was straight out of the box, apart from a few custom adjustments for myself, like the casting brakes. I really can't fault it. There are so few things that I dislike about this reel that I almost considered not doing this review, because it just sounds like an advert for Okuma. It's done everything I wanted it to do really, really well. One thing that has come up in the process of doing a little bit of research on this vlog, and one thing that I think has been a huge problem for Okuma in not only the UK but all over Europe for the whole time this has been on the market, is the availability of the Citrix. I've had so many people ask me what I use, and I've shown them the Citrix and they've gone, oh yeah, that looks great, I really fancy one of those. They're never in stock. I don't know what it is. They must just be very, very popular right the way across the world, because you can never get these things, particularly in the left-hand model, which is the one that most people in the UK would want. I don't know what the problem is there with Okuma. There must be a supply issue. I can only think it's because they're popular, but they are very, very hard to get hold of. In fact, often people have just given up. And with there being so many other reels on the market at a similar price range, I really think that's something Okuma should work on with most of their reels, but particularly the high-end stuff. They've got to make sure they're available, because I have a feeling that this is probably the best reel on the market at its price range. And talking of price range, that is something we've got to discuss. So a quick check before I started filming this vlog suggested that there are a lot of places selling the Citrix 364 LX for around about £165. The retail price is nearer 200, but the price in shop seems to be around 165, which is very, very competitive. I know it's a lot of money for a reel, but if you're doing the kind of work that you're talking about, you know, heavier baits, longer casts, big heavy rods and stuff like that, you really got to think about spending the money on it, because the reality is when it comes to this style of work, it is the reel that gets put under most of the stress. At £165, I think there is a lot of value to be had there. A quick think off the top of my head, what else would be there on the market? I guess the other one that would be about the same price would be the Lose Super Duty, which I think is roughly the same kind of price. I must admit, not really know a whole lot about the Lose Super Duty. If that's something you'd like us to have a little play with, let me know. Around about the same size, I think, possibly a little bit bigger, the Super Duty. But a reel that in Europe, obviously, we don't know a whole lot about, whereas Okuma have got a great name in Europe. They've been making these things for ages. I just know that for the money, if you can get hold of one, and that's the difficult bit, if you can get hold of one of these, they are very, very good value. I've had absolutely loads of hours of fishing out of this, and I know I'm going to get loads in the future. So I think at the very end of this review, what I'm going to say is if you're in the market for a baitcaster around about that price to do the kind of work that I've been talking about, I honestly can't recommend this highly enough. It has never let me down. It's been absolutely fantastic from day one. It's got better as I've got better, my casting's got longer, I've adjusted the brakes, and honestly I think I'm throwing the longest casts I've ever thrown at the moment thanks to this thing. And on that note, I think I've said as much as I need to say about the Citrix 364. I think you guys have got the message. I think it's brilliant. I think you'll absolutely love it. If you're looking for a reel, check them out. Guys, thank you very much for watching this review on the 364. Really appreciate it. If you use one and you've got any opinions of your own, please let me know in the comments section. Let me know what you think of the review. Let me know if you've had trouble finding them actually. That'd be interesting because I know that a lot of people have talked about this. It's a very, very difficult reel to find in shops in the UK. And aside from that, I'm going to say thank you very much for watching the vlog. Really appreciate it. If you've enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up. If you know someone who's in the market for a reel like this, please share it with them. Let them know about the reel. And IB and I will see you guys again very, very soon for some more fishing and stuff. Take care, folks. Bye-bye.